Hello everyone, this is the second homework video for IM2 homework number 27. Where we've left off, we've drawn the net. Okay, we know that this length is 9 units. This length is 10. What else do we know? Well, if the wider one is the blue triangle, the perpendicular height of this blue triangle is 11. That's what we are taught here. What about this skinnier triangle? This triangle's height is 11.2. So what is the surface area? Okay, surface area of a cone is given by pi r squared plus pi rs. So that's going to be pi times, what is the radius? The radius is 8, so 8 squared plus pi times r, which is 8, and s is the lateral slant height, so it's 17.9. Notice that pi r squared is the area of the circle. Okay, area of the circle here. Okay, and this part here, pi rs, that's calculating the area of this sector of a larger circle that is wrapping around the base circle. Okay, and when I use the calculator, 8 squared is 64 pi for the area of the circle, and then for 143.2 pi for the area of the blue sector. You add that up, you have 207.2 pi, and since we are leaving the answer as to 1/10th decimal place, I am going to use the pi value from the calculator, or 3.14. And if I use the pi value from the calculator, this is the answer I get. I want to cut it off to 1 decimal place. That means I'm going to cut it off here. So I need to consider the next digit, which is 3. And I know that that is less than 5. Okay, so that means I do not round up. So the answer is going to stay as 650.9 meters squared. All right, then let's go on to number 9. Okay, so the first thing you need to identify is what sort of shape is this, which is the base. Okay, so again, you should have two identical shape. Okay, two identical shape, and it should be completely congruent. You might think, okay, this rectangle and this rectangle is exact, it looks about the same. That's true, but it's not parallel to each other. Okay, this is at an angle and it will eventually meet. While as this side and the side at the back, this side, they are the base of this shape. And it is a trapezoid. So this is a trapezoidal prism. And what is the net going to look like? Well, if I am going to use this, I'm going to draw that part first. Then I'm going to draw the bottom rectangle. And then I have this red base on the other side. It's going to look like this. Now, to the right is this face here, with some dimension here. And then we have the one large rectangle. And then we have, well, I can stop there, and then I can draw this face here onto the left. Okay, and let's start by entering the dimensions. I know that the trapezoids, the longer length is this length here, which is same as this length. So this length is 6 yards. So this length is also 6 yards. Bottom length is 3 yards. So that's 6, and that is going to be 3. That means this is going to be 3, and this is going to be 6. Okay, what else do we know? We are told that this length is 3 yards. That means this length is also 3 yards. You see the notch here, notch here, notch here, and notch here. That means this is 3 yards, and this is also 3. Now do you see that this side and this side is going to be joining together? So if this is 3 yards, then this is also going to be 3 yards, and this is going to be 3 yards. And this length is going to be wrapping around this edge here. So this is going to be 5 units, or 5 yards. Okay, what about this length? Okay, this length is this length. This corresponds to this length right here. Okay, and what is this length? This length is same as this length, 6 yards. It's the thickness of trapezoidal prism. So that's going to be 6 here, 6 here. It's going to be 6 everywhere. Okay, so that's my net. Now that I have created my net, I can figure out the area. So area, surface area is going to be area of, okay, let's start by area of the trapezoid. And there are 2 of those. And I'm going to color that as red. Remember, the area of a trapezoid is average of the 2 lengths that are different. So that's going to be 5 plus 3 divided by 2 multiplied by the perpendicular height. What is this perpendicular height? I did not label it here, but the perpendicular height is this length here. We're told this is 2.6 yards. Okay, so I need to multiply that by 2.6. Okay, so that's the red 2, and there are 2 of those, so I'm going to multiply that by 2. Okay, and now the rectangles are all different dimensions. Okay, what I can do is I can multiply, figure out the area of this, and figure out the area of this, because it's 3 times 6, and then figure out this, which is 5 times 6, and then figure out this. Okay, or I could just figure out the area of this whole rectangle, because the height of this length rectangle is going to be 6. Okay, so what I can do is I can add all these numbers. 3 times 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. 9 plus 5 is 14. And so we have 14 multiplied by 6. So we are adding, this is my blue area, and this is my red area. Okay, so, and when I use the calculator, the red part simplifies to 20.8, and the blue part simplifies to 84. Add that all up, and I get 104.8 yards squared. Alright, number 10. What do we have here? What shape is this? It is a cylinder. Okay, and what does the net look like? We are going to have a circle at the top, and the circle and the rectangle that wraps around the circle completely, and then another circle at the bottom. And the radius of the circle is going to be 7 miles. And 7 miles. The height of this cylinder is 5 miles. Okay. And what about this length? This length is going to be wrapping right around the circle, so it's going to be the circumference of the circle, which is 2 times pi times radius is 7, so it's going to be 14 pi. So if I break up the 2 parts of the net as the circle, 2 of the circles, and a rectangle here, the surface area is going to be area of the 2 circles. So there are 2 of the circles, so each of the circle is going to be pi r squared, so pi times r is 7 squared. So that's the circle, and the rectangle is 5 by 14 pi, so 14 pi times 5. So this is my blue rectangles area, and this is my 2 of my red circles. Okay, so then 7 squared is 49 times 2 is going to be 98 pi plus 14 times 5. That's going to be 70 pi. So 70 plus 98, that's going to be 168 pi miles squared. And when I use the calculator, I get 527.7875. Again, I want to cut it off at 1 decimal place. That means I look at the next digit, which is 8, and look to see, do I round up or keep it as it is? 8 is bigger than 5, so I need to round up. So that becomes 527.8 miles squared. That's my final answer. Okay, and you should be looking to see, does this sound reasonable? Okay, does this sound reasonable? Well, I know that this is going to be like 14 by 14. That's going to be 144 if it was a square. And yeah, the numbers look reasonable to me. All right, the number 11. Okay, what do we have here? It's a cone on its side, right? Just because it's rotated to the side does not mean that it is anything other than a cone. So it is still a cone, with which being the bigger area is going to be the sector. That's going to, this length is going to be exactly the same as the circumference of the circle. So, and the radius is 3 inches, and we know that the lateral slant height is 7.6 inches. So we have two parts here. We have the sector area, and then we have the base. Okay, all right, so the surface area is given by the formula pi r squared plus pi rs. Pi r squared referring to the area of the base, and pi rs is referring to this sector of a larger triangle with the radius of the slant height. So that's just going to be pi times radius is 3, so 3 squared, plus pi times r, which is 3 again, multiplied by the slant height, which is 7.6. Then I know that 3 squared is 9, so this is 9 pi, multiplied by 3 times 7.6 is going to be 22.8 pi. So I add 22.8 and 9 together, I get 31.8 pi. Then use the calculator for pi, and I get 99.9026 and so on. And I need to round this off at 1 decimal place. That means I cut it off here. Before I do that, consider my next digit, and next digit is 0, so I do not round up. It stays as 99.9, and the unit is inches squared. Okay, now what else? Okay, last one. What shape is this? Oh, by the way, this is a cone, and this is it's a pyramid. It's a triangular pyramid. Okay, so given that each of the face is all triangles, all right, so in that case, okay, so given the time, I'm going to go through really quickly. For this problem, it's a triangular pyramid, and given that we all have the triangles as the faces, you need to figure out which should I use as a base. Well, I know that this triangle has the side length of 10, 10, and 10. So I am going to choose that as my base because that's an equilateral triangle with a side length of 10, 10, 10. And I'm also given this hypotenuse or the height of the triangle as 8.7 here. And then we have the 3 identical blue triangles on the side. Okay, so these are blue triangles on the side. and the calculation is such.